What if one ordinary evening you decided to come home early, flowers in hand, heart full of quiet hope, only to have your entire reality ripped apart in the span of a few heartbeats? You climb the stairs quietly, smiling at the thought of surprising your wife and little girl, and then you hear it, the unmistakable sounds drifting from behind the half-closed bedroom door. Heavy breathing, soft, urgent moans. Her voice, your wife's voice, whispering a name that isn't yours with a passion you thought was long gone. Laughter that used to belong to you, now tangled with someone else's. The betrayal doesn't explode like a bomb. It creeps in like poison gas, slow, suffocating, irreversible. You stand frozen in the hallway, invisible, watching the woman you promised your life to give every inch of herself to the man you trusted like blood. In that single shattering moment, love, loyalty, family, future, all of it fractures into irreparable pieces. Most people would scream, break things, confront, collapse. But what if you didn't? What if that moment of absolute destruction became the cold, quiet forge where a shattered man is remade into something sharper, harder, unbreakable? What if the revenge that follows isn't impulsive rage, but patient, calculated, devastating justice? If you've ever tasted the acid of true betrayal, or if you've wondered how someone can lose everything and still come out on top, stay with me until the very last word. This isn't just a story of pain. It's a story of what happens when the pain decides to fight back. My name is Alex. I turned 36 the year my world collapsed and was reborn. 11 years earlier, I'd started Apex Secure from scratch in the corner of our garage. Me, a second-hand laptop, endless cups of instant coffee, and an idea that the internet could be made safer. I coded through nights while Emily slept upstairs, dreaming of the life we'd build. By the time everything fell apart, Apex was protecting sensitive data for major banks, intelligence agencies, Fortune 100 companies. 9-figure valuation on paper, whispers of a 10-figure exit looming. Media called me the quiet architect of digital trust. I never chased the spotlight. I didn't need to. The work spoke. Emily was the heartbeat of it all. We met in college, sophomore year, late fall. She was the art major with wild curls and paint always smudged on her left cheek, sketching impossible floating cities and impossible futures. I was the computer science kid who lived in hoodies and rarely left the lab except to grab ramen. She dragged me to open mic nights and rooftop parties. I taught her how to debug code, and she taught me how to feel something beyond logic. We fell fast and deep, married at 25 in a small backyard ceremony with fairy lights and her barefoot in white. Bought the house in the hills the next year, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, where the lights at night looked like scattered stars. Ava arrived 3 years later, our tiny, fearless 6-year-old with Emily's curls and my stubborn curiosity. She still believed I could fix any broken toy, any scraped knee, any nightmare with a hug and a story. Emily built her own world alongside mine, a boutique marketing and branding agency she ran from a sunlit home office. She handled our company's PR from day one, crafted the launch narratives, charmed skeptical investors, stood beside me at every major event in that deep red dress that still made my breath catch. We were the couple people posted about, relationship goals, power duo, unbreakable. We believed it too. Or at least, I did. The erosion was slow, invisible at first, the way rust eats steel from the inside out. My role demanded more. International conferences in Singapore, Tokyo, Berlin, data privacy summits in Brussels, crisis calls at 3 a.m. from panicked chief information security officers whose networks were under siege. I was gone for weeks at a stretch sometimes. Emily's agency grew in parallel. Bigger clients, higher profile campaigns, more late-night strategy sessions, more just one more revision texts at midnight. Our dinners became rushed, conversations turned logistical. Ava has soccer tomorrow, don't forget the dry cleaning. Our bedroom followed the same pattern. Touches became mechanical, kisses goodbye instead of lingering. Sex dwindled from passionate to polite to occasional to rare. We both blamed exhaustion, promised each other when things calmed down. They never did. Then Jake became a fixture again. Jake had been my shadow since freshman year, my roommate, my wingman, my best man. He was everything I wasn't. Outgoing, effortlessly charming, always single, always ready with a joke or a story. After college, we stayed close. He started his own consulting firm, corporate strategy, networking, the kind of work that put him in rooms with powerful people. He'd come over for barbecues, play catch with Ava in the backyard, sling an arm around Emily and say, "You're still the luckiest guy alive, man." I'd laugh, felt proud. Family. But pride turned to something colder. I started noticing the small shifts. Emily's phone face down during dinner, new notifications she silenced quickly, a new bottle of perfume on the vanity, something dark and spicy I hadn't bought, lingerie in the hamper that wasn't for our anniversary, yoga classes that ended at 10 p.m. 3 nights a week, texts that made her smile in a way I hadn't seen in years, Jake dropping by just to say hi when I was out of town, his car in the driveway more often than made sense. I told myself I was imagining things. Successful men get paranoid, wives get lonely, friends stay friends. But the doubt grew roots, deep ones. The night the illusion died was a Tuesday in mid-October. I'd wrapped a high-stakes London summit 24 hours early, dealt with a major breach scare, signed the recovery deal, and caught the first flight back. I wanted to surprise them, bought roses for Emily, a stuffed panda for Ava, landed at 8 p.m., drove home with the windows down, city air cool and sharp. The house looked warm and welcoming, lights soft in the upstairs windows. I pictured Ava running to me, Emily's arms around me. I smiled for the first time in weeks. Then I heard it from the foyer. Soft jazz playing low, rhythmic breathing, a low moan. Emily's voice, breathy, desperate, intimate. Jake, yes, just like that, don't stop. My foot froze on the first step. The roses slipped from my hand, petals scattered silently on the hardwood. My pulse didn't race, it slowed to a dull, heavy thud. I climbed the stairs like I was underwater, pushed the master bedroom door an inch open. There they were, in our bed. The same Egyptian cotton sheets we picked out together in Milan, the same headboard I'd built myself. Emily on top, hair wild, skin flushed, moving with a rhythm I thought was lost to us forever. Jake beneath her, hands clamped on her hips, guiding her, eyes locked on hers. Their bodies knew each other, practiced, hungry, unhurried. She threw her head back, moaning his name like a vow. He whispered something filthy and loving against her throat. I stood in the doorway shadow for what felt like eternity, but was probably 12 seconds. Long enough to memorize every detail. Long enough for 20 years of memories to crock like glass under pressure. Long enough for love to curdle into something else entirely. Cold, focused clarity. I backed out, closed the front door without a sound, picked up the fallen roses, sat in my car in the driveway until the bedroom light flicked off. Then I drove to the nearest hotel, checked in under my middle name, and sat on the edge of the bed in total darkness. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I stared at the wall and began to plan. The next morning, I returned home at 7:15 a.m., kissed Emily on the cheek as if I'd just landed, missed you both, hugged Ava until she giggled, texted Jake, beer soon? He replied, I learned their patterns. Tuesday and Thursday, yoga. Weekend afternoons when I was at the office. Hotel check-ins under her maiden name. I mapped it all. Meanwhile, Emily's parallel life was accelerating in secret. She had always possessed extraordinary creative talent. Bold, boundary-pushing interior architecture concepts she'd always downplayed as just sketches or impractical fantasies. Unbeknownst to me, she'd submitted a portfolio anonymously to one of the world's most prestigious design competitions 6 months earlier. She won. Grand prize. A transformative multi-million-dollar development deal with a global luxury real estate conglomerate. At first, she kept it hidden, perhaps from guilt, perhaps from fear I'd question her sudden inspiration. Then the announcement broke. Media frenzy. Emily Carter, the enigmatic visionary behind revolutionary design. Interviews on design podcasts, features in Architectural Digest. Her new firm launched with explosive valuation, hundreds of millions in early commitments. She became a brand overnight. Red carpet events, speaking gigs. She glowed in the spotlight, believed her success would wash away the stains. One rainy Thursday night, she decided to confess. Ava was asleep upstairs. Emily sat me down at the kitchen island, eyes swollen, voice shaking. Alex, I've done something terrible. I've been having an affair with Jake. It started because I felt so alone. You were always gone. I was invisible. I'm so sorry. I ended it. I want to fight for us. For Ava. Please. She reached across the marble. I let her take my hand, looked into the eyes I'd once drowned in, and said very quietly, I need time to think about what you've told me. She exhaled in visible relief, thought the confession was the hardest part, thought forgiveness might follow. She was wrong. Deeper digging revealed the full extent of the betrayal. Jake wasn't merely sleeping with my wife, he was weaponizing the access I'd given him years earlier. As a favor to a friend, I'd granted him early beta privileges to our security platform, read-only at first, then elevated for testing. He exploited every opening. Small data leaks initially, then larger breaches, sold proprietary intelligence to competitors, built a quiet side operation of blackmail and influence peddling. In private messages to Emily, he was explicit. Once we sideline Alex, the company, your fame, the money, it's ours. We'll run the show. You'll be the face. I'll be the power. He saw her rising star as his ticket to control. He never loved her. He used her as leverage, used me as the mark. That realization extinguished the last flicker of grief. What remained was ice, pure strategic ice. I moved with surgical precision. First, I locked down Apex, patched every vulnerability Jake had touched, hired third-party forensic investigators to trace the leaks, created an unassailable chain of evidence leading directly to him, built the case brick by brick. Compiled the personal dossier, full archive of video footage, complete message history, hotel and credit card records, financial trails, wire transfers, everything timestamped, geotagged, irrefutable, a digital executioner's blade. Divorce proceedings began quietly, filed in a jurisdiction where long-term infidelity, moral misconduct, and child-endangering instability carried heavy weight. Primary physical custody of Ava granted swiftly based on the evidence. Emily fought hard, hired expensive lawyers, lost. She retained the house. I refused to fight for it. Too many ghosts. We divided assets equitably on paper, but the emotional landscape was scorched earth. Jake's reckoning came next. I released the full embezzlement and data theft dossier anonymously through secure channels, regulators, key clients, major media outlets. Within 72 hours, his consulting firm disintegrated. Clients pulled contracts en masse. Board members resigned, and an arrest warrant was issued as he attempted to board a private flight to the Cayman Islands. Headlines were merciless. Trusted confidant betrays tech CEO in multi-million data theft scandal. Photos of him in handcuffs outside his downtown office. He called from custody multiple times, left rambling voicemails. Alex, we were brothers. This is a misunderstanding. Call me, please. I saved the recordings, played them occasionally when the anger threatens to cool. Then I deleted them. Emily's empire suffered collateral damage. I didn't strike her directly. That would have been too obvious, too personal. Instead, I fed, through a cutout intermediary, documentation showing that several of her firm's early high-value contracts were built on data compromised by Jake's breaches. Investors grew skittish. A critical Series B round faltered. Several marquee sponsors quietly withdrew support. Her brand endured. She remained wealthy, visible, celebrated, but the golden aura tarnished. Every award ceremony now included awkward footnotes. Every profile piece carried the faint odor of scandal. She became a story of brilliant rise shadowed by questionable foundations. Time passed. Years. Apex evolved into something monumental. AI-powered threat prediction, global data sovereignty solutions, headquarters in 3 continents. Valuation crossed well into 10 figures. I remarried, quietly, privately, to a woman named Claire. She's calm, honest, grounded, no drama, no spotlight. Ava adores her, calls her Claire but hugs her like family. Ava is 11 now, smart beyond her years, perceptive. She visits Emily every week under our custody agreement, calls her mom without hesitation, calls me dad with fierce loyalty. She senses the invisible wall between her parents but doesn't probe. She simply clings tighter when she feels the tension. Emily reached out last spring. We met on a neutral park bench while Ava was playing on the swings nearby. She looked older than her years, successful on the surface, hollow beneath. Designer clothes, perfect hair, eyes that no longer sparkled. Alex, I destroyed the best thing I ever had. The money, the awards, the brand, it all feels hollow. I see what you've become, the man I threw away. I wish I could go back. I wish I could undo every choice. I looked at her, the girl with paint on her cheek, the woman who once promised me forever, and felt only calm detachment. You made those choices deliberately, Emily. Night after night, lie after lie. You built your empire on the ashes of our family. Now you get to live in it. She cried quietly. I offered no tissue, no comfort, just silence. Jake, still fighting legal battles, appeals dragging on, career annihilated, living in a modest 1-bedroom, working odd consulting gigs under strict oversight. He regrets everything. I know because mutual contacts still whisper. I didn't obliterate them completely. I let the natural consequences of their actions do most of the heavy lifting. But I ensured they felt the full weight of what they stole from me, from Ava, from the life we could have had. Betrayal can break a person beyond repair, or it can temper them into steel. I chose steel. If you're listening to this and your trust lies in ruins, or if you're the one quietly breaking someone else's, understand this one truth. The cheater believes the secret will fade with time. The survivor who rebuilds, they get to author the ending. And sometimes that ending is the most satisfying revenge imaginable.